Welcome back. The preview last night, well, technically this morning, 2 o'clock this morning to be precise, was something of a mixed bag for many, myself included, but there was one bit of extremely fun news that frankly we need to take a look at, because I think for the first time in a while, the old world actually won out when it came to just very fun, perhaps even shocking reveals, and a whole ton of really, really nice miniatures, because this morning they have revealed the models for Grand Cathay. They're doing the thing. They're doing it. They've been in Total Warhammer 3 for, well, since it launched, but now there are actual miniatures, and good Lord, they've done a good job with these. This is the Grand Cathay Battalion to start off with. 50 miniatures in there, 30 Jade Warriors, you've got 10 Jade Lancers, and 2 artillery pieces, plus crew. And for my money, these are some really, really nice models. We'll start out with the Jade Warriors, who look absolutely fantastic. I really like the design of the shields, those are really nice. The plumed helmets are really fun. Looks like we've got a nice mix of weapons going on as well. Like, Old World isn't really my thing, but these just look great. As well they should, to be fair, they are brand new miniatures, and the entire range is going to be plastic as well, so that's nice. But yeah, there's just lots of very fun details on these. They do look like they would potentially be something of a nightmare to paint, purely because of there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. We've got what looks like some sort of scale mail going on. There's also metal shoulders. We've got the shields. We've got cloth underneath. There's like a mix of like leathers and actual just, cloth fabrics, that sort of thing. You've got the plumes on top. There's a bit of skin on the hands and the faces. Like there's a lot to go on here, and there's a lot to do to make them look decent on the tabletop. These, I feel like, are not models where you could just throw a couple of colours on and be like, yeah, there you go. Because the detail is quite extreme on some of these. I really like the gorgets as well. The big sort of padded gorgets, or armoured turtlenecks, as you could also call them. You probably wouldn't know, that would be silly. These are just very nice looking models. Really nicely done. And I hate to say this, I really do, but they do look quite good, all like serried up in their ranks there. Oh no. Am I being slowly converted just because of one army? It can't happen. It can't. To be honest, something that is really helping is the colour scheme. The colour scheme is doing a lot to lift these. It's just very visually pleasing. Got musicians in there along with banner bearers. Yeah, I mean, they're just the whole overall design. It's really nice. Not surprising designs, since these have been present in a video game for quite a while now, but seeing them in plastic, I don't know, it's different. It's different. It hits different, and they look great. So you can either have hand weapons and shields or halberds, and they are the core of your army. Now, the Jade Lancers, again, just look really, really good. Similar thing to the Cities of Sigmar, though, where the horses have got little tiny heads. I'm not really sure why that's become a thing. I feel like a lot of the horse models that Games Workshop's done relatively recently, the scaling has been just a little bit off, but I don't mind too much just because of how fun this unit looks all round. Again, the plumed helmets just look so good when there's a little bundle of them. I really like the barding on the horses, that looks really good as well. And the fact that the reins have got these little kind of rope tassels on, there's just so much in the way of nice little details all over these models. Which again means painting them probably not going to be all that easy, but I mean, when you do it right, they're going to look great. They're just going to look incredible on the tabletop, you know? The overall design of the armour, again, is super, super strong. I like the sort of sashes they've got going on as well. Again, just a very, very strong unit. Just looks really, really nice. Now, artillery-wise, there's the Grand Cannon and there's the Fire Rain Rocket Battery. We'll look at the Grand Cannon first. I'm a sucker for a giant gun, alright? I'm a sucker for a giant gun. And it's a giant gun. Whack off great cannon with a cool, like, dragon head sort of mount. It's just class. It's just good. Got a big ogre lad reloading it, which is fun. In fact, the crew as a whole are nicely sculpted. Lovely mix of kind of in-action poses and more casual ones. And I really like, I mean, that dude's beard. The old fella with the long beard. Quality. Absolutely solid. Love that. And I do like that even the thing they're using to light the fuse is super extravagant and kind of ornamented. It doesn't need to be that complex, but it is. It's also fun the way that the crew for the cannon and the rocket battery don't have much in the way of armour, really. There's a little bit here and there, but they're nowhere near as heavily armoured as everyone else because they are at the back of the fight, preferably. That's what you're hoping for anyway. Just makes them look that bit lighter and that bit more nimble, which is... it's good, I like it. The alternate build for this, the Fire Rain rocket battery, is brilliant. It's so fun. I don't know. I think, for me, I do like the cannon because it's a giant cannon, but I also, I don't know, there's something really fun about the idea of that just launching stuff at people. Like, there's a fun factor that the cannon doesn't have. The cannon is scary. The cannon is like, whatever comes out of that is going to be massive and it's going to hurt. This looks more, I don't know, it's like more mysterious in a weird way, because a lot of the stuff before now is fairly standard sort of fantasy warriors. But they've got a cannon, then you've got this thing. I really like the contrast. I think the contrast is really fun. I do like the way you've got alternate arms and builds for most of the crew as well. So your sort of crew leader, they are just pointing and shouting. They want that thing over there to be dead. But everyone else, swapping out the different elements on the models to make it appropriate for whichever one you build. I like that a lot. They could have just had them all looking a bit generic, and no matter which way you build it, the crew just looks the same. They could have just made it so that they weren't as specific to each variant, but instead, they are as specific as the variant is, which I like that a lot. That shows a little bit of like care and attention, which is fun. In the grand scheme of things, I don't think anyone would have noticed if they just had the same crew for each one. Them having those differences, I don't know, it stands out to me a little bit. There's also the, I'm going to mispronounce this horribly, Shugengan Lord on Great Spirit Longmarch, which looks fantastic. Now, at the time, I was like, is this going to be like resin, though? Is this going to be resin whilst the rest of it is plastic? Because we've had a few characters for Old World where it's like single model releases, but it's a hero of some kind, and it's been Forge World resin as opposed to being, you know, a plastic release. But they have confirmed that all of this lot, everything is just plastic, which I think is probably going to help it sell as well. I think that's going to help a lot. People are going to be more keen to dive in if they're getting a brand new army with brand new rules, with brand new sculpts, all in plastic, which, you know, just means easier to obtain, easier to work with, cheaper. It's gonna be ridiculously popular, this box, I feel like. Everything is going to be sold out immediately and for ages, is my sort of limited prediction for this release. But anyway, again, super fun model. Really nice. The actual Lord looks fantastic. I really like that halberd they've got. Polearm halberd? Either way. The hair is really nicely sculpted. I'm a little bit like, please don't drop that in the wrong way, because if you do drop it, that hair is snapping off immediately. But the cloth looks really nice. The feeling of movement off the model is great. I do like the pose. There is a bit of tactical rock going on, but I'll let them off this time. The dragon is fantastic. It looks extremely like noble. I like the armor across the chest. That's really fun. And the horns coming out of the back of the head, that's such a nice touch. I really like that. I think that adds something to this that otherwise it wouldn't have been like lacking necessarily, but it just gives it a little bit extra. We've also got the Gate Masters of the Celestial Cities, so the Jade Warrior garrisons are commanded by the Gate Masters. They look fantastic. The banners look great. Again, the armour is really, really nice. The mounted one is brilliant. I love the armour on the horse. The barding is great. That helmet looks so cool. I feel like the horse probably can't see a damn thing, but who cares? The sword is interesting because it looks mostly functional, but then a little bit extra, just a teeny bit. Just got a little tiny bit of decoration going on, but otherwise fairly simple. The shield is really nice as well. I like that the shield is different to the ones carried by the infantry. That's a nice little touch. Similar in style, but kind of denotes rank a little bit. And they're staying super consistent with the plume on the helmet as well. In fact, even the hero that we just looked at, whilst they weren't wearing a helmet, the hair was still done up in a similar way to all the plumes on the previous ones. It's a really nice little touch of consistency. Just ties it all together. Now, the Sky Lantern is fantastic. I absolutely love this thing. It's great. The design on the, is it the envelope? Like the dirigible bit, the balloon bit. That's really, really cool. The way they've sculpted the rope and stuff, it just looks right. Like, it looks pretty real to my eye. It's also something that I don't think they've done anything in this style before, really. I'm trying to sort of think of other models that have got a similar kind of setup, or at least that kind of texture and mix of different materials, but I can't think of anything off the top of my head. It looks really, really cool. Got a nice basket full of people with guns, plenty of ammunition and gunpowder and the like, which is very fun. I like how the sails are being held up by very ornamented, mast sections. Just the overall kind of patterning on this model as a whole, really, really nice. Really fun. Again, my desire to own a lot of these models is only tempered by the knowledge that painting them was going to be an absolute nightmare. I mean, that's a lot of stuff going on in that relatively small footprint. You 100% obviously are not going to be painting that completely after assembly. This has got sub-assembly written all over it, because how the hell would you do it any other way? It would just be literally impossible. But that's something really fun about this model. From a distance, it's like, oh, that's really cool. You get a bit closer, like, oh, the detail's really nice. You get a bit closer still, you see the various patterns and the way it's kind of set out within the basket section. Then you get right up close, and every person in there has got a little bit of personality on show. It just feels like a lot of love's gone into it. Now, personally, if I end up with anything out of this lot, it's going to be this thing. So this is the Cathayan Sentinel, and it just ticks all the boxes for me. Just ticks all the boxes. It's massive, for a start. Love painting a big, massive model. It's a statue, which means I get to paint one of my favourite things, which is lots of stonework. And it looks awesome. Massive, double-ended glaive. That's the word I was trying to think of earlier. Not polearm. Glaive is what I meant to say. There's loads of little nice details and textures. The way that it's cracked in some places is really fun. I like the inclusion of the little bits of rope with the parchment hanging down. Those are nice touches. Breaks it up quite nicely. That just looks like so much fun to paint. Just so much fun to paint. I want to paint it, literally now. Something that's interesting is that they do say in the article as well that Sentinels are constructed from materials such as terracotta, jade, and even volatile warpstone. That's a really nice way of just opening it up to people. Like, you could look at that and go, well, it's a statue, therefore it has to look like this. And I could easily see it kind of descending into, well, I think you'll find that in the description it's supposed to. No, you're being given that little green light to just paint it how you like. Loads of different stone. You can do it terracotta if you want. You can even go crazy and make it all glowy and green. Just a little thing, but something that I appreciate them doing. Also, the alternate head on the terracotta one there, I prefer to the initial one. I really like that. I'm a big fan of a featureless helmet on a big guy. Love that. Now, of course, there's going to be the Arcane Journal for the armies of Grand Cathay, but we knew that they were going to do the book, because why would they release the whole army with that one? Instead, we're going to look at Miao Ying. I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly, but I could also be totally wrong. This is some of my favourite stuff out of all of this release. I like literally everything. Every part of this army I really like. There's not a single thing that I looked at and went, I'm not a fan. Instead, I was like, well, that looks great, and I'd love to paint that, even though it'd take ages. Well, that looks really cool as well. Oh, that ties in really nicely with that. I'm 100% on board with this force. It looks great. But these specifically, she ties in with the Sentinel as just a thing I want to paint, so I can paint it. That's pretty much it. I don't know what I'd use her for if it was the case that I, didn't end up picking up Old World, which it seems unlikely that I will, but I just love these models a lot. But I just love these. She looks great. It's just, the dragon is fantastic. The posing is really nice. I've already seen people go back and forth on the stone, which I totally get. I quite like it. It does give the illusion of floating without using a flying stand. But at the same time, there's only so thin you can make various connections and the model still be stable. So it's not perfect. It's not perfect, but I feel like the intent is doing a lot for these, and that's helping sell it for me. I absolutely love the armour on the dragon. It looks great. That kind of crown of horns is fantastic. Again, the pose, just super nice. Looks very like lithe and willowy, but also pretty terrifying at the same time. And the side profile, I think, does a lot to show just how big this model is. Even though it's quite slim in many ways, it's still sizable. And that's without even talking about the non-dragon form, which, again, really, really nicely done. The robes look absolutely fantastic. The way it's integrated with the floating stones, I think, works super well. There being like a kind of gust that's blowing the cloth upwards sells it a lot as well. The face is nicely sculpted. The hair looks good. Like, overall, that is just a solid pair of miniatures. Absolutely solid. So there you go. I mean, that for me was the highlight of the preview, and it was one of the first things we saw. They sort of did a bait and switch where they went, here's Wood Elves and Beastmen, nothing new. Oh, also, here's an entirely new faction to the tabletop at least, and it all looks incredible, and not much was going to, like, live up to that, and that was helped in no small way by the fact that every single one of those miniatures looks absolutely quality. I think this is genuinely some of the most exciting work they've done for the old world. Like, from outside looking in, from just a, what would I just grab? Despite not being that fussed about the game itself, what would I just go, you know what? You've drawn me in. You've drawn me in with this. This is it. This is the army. If anything has a chance of getting me into old world, it's this, because there is no part of it I don't like. I think they've absolutely nailed it. So, yeah. Good start to the preview. The rest of it, we'll talk about that a bit more tomorrow. In the meantime, let me know what you think of all of that in the comments down below. In the meantime, feel free to click all the things. You know the drill. There's also a video from yesterday where I painted a gigantic ship, like terrain, which I'm super proud of. So I will link it during the video, well, now at the end whilst I'm talking about it. Check it out. It's something very different for the channel, but I had a blast making that. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you for the next one.